What if your thoughts, what's going on in your headspace, has a direct connection to the results for you as a business coach and strategist? That's our conversation today on the podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that you are here. Today's conversation, actually, it's one of my favorite. For whatever reason, over time, it's just I've spent a lot of time in researching, processing on a personal level, by the way. And it's all about just the head trash, the headspace, your mindset. And, sometimes people get confused about the word motivation. This is not about motivation. You can have all the skill in the world, number one. Number two, you can have all the leads in the world. But if your headspace is off, you run the risk of it making a negative impact. And if you've never thought about it before, it might be. It might be the reason that you struggle sometimes. And you may say, well, when you say struggle, what do you mean? Well, let's say that, in business coaching, you're going to do a workshop. Let's say you got 8 people in the room, around a conference room. You thought you did well, but for whatever reason, there was just no conversions. And you're trying to figure out why. What if you've been having a lot of head trash and negative speak and you've been down about yourself, that absolutely will come out into the open, if you will, into the wild, and how you interact on all the levels, especially if you have some deep-rooted issues that need to be dealt with, too, just about the things that you tell yourself. Real quick, as we get into things, if you're taking a peek at about potentially looking at our Done For You system, you're curious, you've been checking some things out, but you haven't had a conversation with us yet, I would love to encourage you to do that. You can book what we call a clarity chat to explore the system. We'll give you resources you can look at. Here's the point of it. It's really just to give you clarity and peace to determine, one, business coaching, I think is for me for this season of my life or next chapter, whatever. Two, working with us, our community, our team, and our entire Done For You platform. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. There's some information there you can get. You can book a call. There might be a link in an email that you have received as well. So here's the reality. And you might want to, what I'm about to share is kind of a precipice of 4 areas you want to write down. It's your thoughts, it's your words, it's your presence, and it's your results. I've got my notes right here. If you're watching via video, maybe on YouTube or even the video on Spotify. I've got my notes right here on the screen. So if you see me watch or look this direction, that's what that is. I used to have them on paper notes, would print them out, kind of, Rush Limbaugh style, if you will. But thoughts, words, presence, and results. Number one, thoughts. They shape the words that you choose. So in your everyday conversations, the things that you're saying to other people are shaped prior to how you're thinking. All right? Your thoughts then shape the words, and then your words shape your tone and your posture. That's the reason why you literally can say the same sentence multiple ways, and it will sound and come off totally different just by the posture because of the words influenced by your thoughts. Then your tone, that shapes, this is it right here, that shapes how people experience you. And if you've never taken time to really process, hey, how do people experience me? Well, one of the answers to that is going to be baked into how you think and how you speak. And the cool thing is you can do something about it. The last is the results. They come and follow from clarity, not perfection. Oftentimes, however, when we're looking to grow for success, we're looking for perfection, and that's really not what you want to chase. People need to feel certainty. I think I said clarity a minute ago. I meant certainty. Well, okay? So results, they follow from certainty, not perfection is what I meant to say, okay? People respond to certainty. But if you put a lot of stock in, You're just trying to make things sound perfect, whatever, and you're not, following this process of thoughts, words, presence, and results, you likely are missing an opportunity in all the ways. The emails that you send out, your text messages, sales conversations. Like in our world, in our system, we utilize a predefined high-profile software that does and runs an assessment for a business. We can show them myopically what they need to focus on for strategic profitability improvements. Well, even having that tool, how you interact with that tool and how you interact with your potential client, that's how people are experiencing you. But if you've told yourself lies like, I'm not good at this, I'm not the best at this, there's others, I saw somebody do one of these, boy, they were much better than me, I bet you people don't really believe in me. Well, if that's going on, it's going to permeate in how people experience you, all right? So when we look at this whole, head trash and headspace kind of thing, headspace is intentional, grounded, directional thinking, all right? This is essentially where clarity lives. And this is where you're choosing what you're going to focus on. Head trash, however, is assumptions, fear loops, comparison, and scarcity thinking, right? So this is the head trash essentially when it's poor and negative, it's taking up resident in your headspace. So this is not like hocus pocus motivational, whatever. This is really just all about preparing yourself and your mind to be the best you can be, not just from a mental perspective, but how people experience you. So when you have all that mental clutter and stuff that's judgment and whatever, it gets in the way, and it won't, it's not a chance that it will interfere. Okay? And here's the thing, you don't eliminate it rather by just ignoring it. Like if you had a day where it was an off day, I'm just going to go get up and do it again tomorrow. No, we have to be proactive to do something about it. And I'm going to share with you exactly, biblically, by the way, what you can do about it right now. Here we've had Super Bowl, 2 teams battling it out. We're in the Olympics. You've got world-class athletes, that highly skilled folks. But if you listen to storylines, read articles, interviews and whatnot, you will hear way more conversation about the preparedness of mind, body, and soul to be prepared for the field, for the ice, for the slopes, whatever their skill, their sport is. Well, shouldn't that send a message to me and you? That if they're trying to be the best that they can be, they're recognizing, they understand the value of what goes on mentally well before they jump into the actual skill. All right. So these negative thoughts, these lies we tell ourselves, I'm not good enough, they're better than me, they probably don't want to listen to me, I'll never make this right. I've had 4 clients for a while, I'll never get to 8, my goal is X, but I'm just not going to make it there. Like all these different things we tell ourselves. I'm not worthy, imposter syndrome, the list goes on and on. What do we do about it? Well, here it is. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Now, I think we can, safely say God can do anything he wants. But I think, what Paul was encouraging the church here was that you have a responsibility. That's what the word means. Responsibility, ability to choose your response. We can take action and do something about it. Because if you don't, it's just going to happen anyways. That's just the way the world works. That's the way life works ever since the apple was bitten, right? So how do we take those thoughts? If we take them captive, what do we do with them? Well, 1, we have to name them, right? In other words, recognizing them. So as we begin to have these thoughts and they creep up into our mindset, whatever the thought may be. And I'll give you actual concrete example. As a coach, let's say that we're going to do that workshop. We've got 8, 10, 12 people that's coming. And as we're planning it, if we're starting to think like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I do enjoy getting in front of people, but they're probably like, why would they want to hear from me? Why would they believe in me? We just start to go through, that's the stuff we go, no, I recognize this right now as a negative thought. So the next thing we're going to do, we recognize it. Next, we're going to test it to say, is this true or false, right? Does this statement, this idea, this thought that I'm having, does it align with who God says I am? Does it align with who I'm wanting to be? Does it align to what I know I can be, and so on? So we've named it. Now we are addressing it being a lie. And when we know that's a lie, we're now going to replace it with truth. This is the reason why you can't just ignore it and expect things to change at some point. This is being proactive and doing something about it. We have named it. We have addressed it's a lie. We're now going to swap it out to speak it out loud if you need to sometimes, to make the exchange from going from lie to truth. What does that sound like? Well, if I'm saying things like I'm not good enough, I'm able to replace it, go, God says I'm good enough. I know that I'm good enough. I know He's given me the power of the words, the skill. I've got 25 years of experience doing X, Y, Z. Like, these are the types of things that we begin to replace. And what happens there is that we begin to dig new trenches of truth. And I don't want to get into all the neurological aspects of this, but that's essentially what's happening, is that these neurons fire these negative, you're not good, you're not good, you're not good, or whatever the lie is. When we now take it and replace it and say, no, I am good, and here's why, we're now digging a ditch, the trench of truth. Now, doing it one time is not going to do enough. You have to do it in repetition. And as I say often, repetition is the bedrock of mastery. So this isn't just about a day or a week or a month. This is something that you begin to learn to do, and this becomes not just who you are. By doing this practice, you begin to create the person you really want to be. Here's why. Again, sin entered the world and changed it all. And now there's free will, and you get to do whatever you want to do based upon the activity of choice. In this case, this is saying I want to be the best that I possibly can be to serve the business community, to help them with their profitability, their leadership, their culture, and so on. And as I'm building my business coaching business, I want to become X, I want to become Y, I want to become Z. And this is how you mentally prepare yourself and to remove and to prevent head trash in your headspace. Okay? What does this do? When we do this, this begins to boost the confidence, and this is how people are going to experience you. And when it comes to confidence, confidence is not being loud, arrogant, performative, right? It's not about dominating conversations. Confidence is being settled. Confidence is being clear, grounded. It's that, essentially, that quiet assumption, that comes from this knowing who you are and what you're truly called to do. And people can feel it and they can sense it. And when they're experiencing, I don't know, oftentimes that's because thoughts turned into words, turned into tone, turned into results. There you go. And so, what you say to yourself every single day, both internally, in other words, just your thinking, and sometimes we're in the car, we say them externally, even worse. You put it out into the universe, if you will, quote unquote. In other words, out loud. When you say those words out loud, boy, you run risk of truly starting to believe them. And all of a sudden, the way you view things they change. The way you start to recognize things, they change. All because of the way that you're believing, and a lot of it's just not even true. All right, last thing, and you can Google this kind of stuff if you want, but you want to start to recognize those lies, write them down, write a statement of a truth, and begin to repeat those statements. You might have 4, 5, 10, whatever, but ultimately, it is anchoring those affirmations to who you want to be, because that's essentially what they become is affirmations, and you want to build positive statements that are based upon who it is that, not that you're trying to become, that you are going to become. And look, in reality, it takes some people longer than others. I can't tell you why. Some, it may just be a discipline. Some are more disciplined to do this work more than others. Some may take it more serious. I would argue that that's probably true because it's just the way life is true. And so if you want to worry about how you show up, if you care about it, if you want to worry and you care about how you serve, if you're going to worry about, and you better care about this one, how you respond to resistance. Resistance is real in life no matter what you do. The relationships, the people, the things that you do, it's real. And you can respond to it negatively or you can respond to it positively. It's up to you. But having just a daily prepared paragraph at worst case matters. Things like this. And don't focus on just the content of what I'm saying, but more important, the fact that I have something to say. And this is just an example, not mine, but it's an example. Today I lead with clarity, calm, confidence. I am prepared, present, and grounded in my work. I listen well, speak clearly, and serve without striving. I do not rush outcomes or chase approval. I steward conversations faithfully and trust God with the results. Here's what you can do today that we couldn't do a few years ago. You can take those trenches of truth statements, go to ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you want to do, and put them all together and say, hey, I want you to compile these together in a clean, clear, simple daily statement I'm going to repeat to myself every single day of my life, because this is going to shape how I think. This is going to shape my words. This is going to shape my tone of how people experience me. There you go. This is not for the faint of heart. It's it's only arduous in the very beginning, maybe. And the cool thing is you can do something about it. All right. I pray that you found value out of our conversation today. Until next time, take care.